Welcome back to the rest of the story. You guys can see behind me, this isn't the 8235R. As you guys all know, I'm assuming you guys have all seen how farms work, that this 8370 has been here for a few days. And Ryan has actually had a chance to take it out and run it. And I'm addressing the questions from people wondering why I haven't done anything on it since it's been here. Simply because it's too wet out to do anything at this point. I mean, the ground is, it's not even mud anymore, it's practically soup. But as far as this tractor goes, it is a nice looking machine. And I'm gonna have to get up in the cab here because the wind's starting to get pretty low. Oh. Here's the view over the hood. Leather seat, leather steering wheel. Myself, I'm not a fan of them. That's personal preference, simply because as I'm sitting here, I can actually feel myself sliding out of it. The tractor does have IVT, right hand reverser, I believe, is the technical name for it. Myself, I like IVT. A lot of people say that for heavy tillage, they prefer power shift. I'm not about to argue that fact because we ran, granted, it's a smaller tractor, but we actually demoed a 7930 back in 2012. And it had IVT on it, and that tractor pulled fairly hard with that 9-shank we had. Although, unfair comparison because the ground is really hard. Seems how it was a drought year. Myself, I would like to get an IVT tractor someday. It might not necessarily be a primary tillage tractor, but as far as getting an IVT transmission tractor with one, I definitely see it replacing the 7600. Not necessarily saying I want to get rid of the 76, but if I was looking for something else for a road runner, for round baling or pulling wagons or even running the grain cart, IVT is definitely on my list of things to shop for, because it's really nice having an infinite amount of gears. You can find just the right speed that you're looking for as you're driving. And I don't think we'll be getting another R series anytime soon. I was on the internet the other day looking at Tractor House, and they say, well, not they, just looking at different prices of machinery and looking at what we need, say a 30 series, a 20 series, even if you could find a nice 10 series for another 8R or 1000 series tractor, is probably more along the lines of what we're going to be looking for. Now, we're not looking at buying anything anytime soon, but people are going to say that an 8370R is just ridiculous for the ground we have, for what we have to cover as far as acres and for the equipment we have. Well, I'm not going to agree or disagree with that statement. I will say this. What comes first? A larger tractor, and now I'm not saying necessarily this one, or bigger implements? Well, I tell you what, I can't go and purchase a 11 or 15 shank chisel plow, 13 shank chisel plow, and then expect to pull it with the 4640. I would much rather have a tractor around that I know will pull any of the implements that I'm buying, because it really doesn't make much sense for me to go and buy a piece of equipment and be unsure of whether or not I can pull it or not. That's going to be kind of painful for me to have to go do field work and then see a piece of equipment sitting in the machine shed not paying its way simply because I purchased it and I can't use it. Now, the statement has been making its way around the internet, but I can do a lot of work with a big tractor than I can do with a small tractor, because I can do a little job with a big tractor that I can't do a big job with a little tractor. Now, myself, if I'm the one making the purchase for another tractor like the 8R, if I'm looking for another high horsepower tractor, I'm going to be looking for something bigger than the 300 horse. I might not necessarily need it for the acres we currently have, but hear me out. The acres we currently have are not the acres that we're planning on having 10, 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. We are looking at expanding. We are trying to expand. I did not pick up any acres yet this year. I'm thinking at this point it's not going to happen. It's not the end of the world. But going forward, I'm constantly on the lookout for picking up a few acres. Now, the reason that I'd say that is because we're looking at, when we make equipment purchases as of late, we're looking at equipment that can handle running another 500 to 1,000 acres. Myself, I'll put it out there, I'm looking for running about 2,000 acres total is where I'd like to get at. Not a stupid amount, but enough that we can make a decent go of cropping. And to be honest with you, I want to be able to expand our grain setup, our handling. And the thing is, the equipment we currently have right now is getting us by with what we currently have in acres. The 8235 is doing a great job at that. The 4640 is holding its own. It's a good planter tractor. But we are looking at equipment purchases that are going to make us more efficient as we go. Well, it seems how it's this fall. One that's been brought up quite a bit is the combine. Now, we're not currently looking at making any equipment purchases, but for the sake of conversation, a bigger combine is definitely on the list of things that we really need to update to reduce a bottleneck we currently have, and that is the amount of acres we can cover in one day. Now, going from a 6-row to a 12-row, and from a walker machine to a rotary machine, that would be huge. And we don't even have to make that big of a jump. I've been doing a lot of research on it, and I believe it's as simple as going from a 9060 series, or 9660, 9670, 9760. Just trying to stay away from the 9050 series, but something that can run a 12-row head with ease, cover a little bit more acres, take a wider swath out of the field as we're going across the field. And the thing is, we're trying to look ahead as far as where we're going to be as compared to buying equipment from where we currently are, because then we're still cutting ourselves off at the knees making purchases. Now, about this tractor that we're sitting in, I don't see us making this purchase. This is a demo. We have it for a couple more hours yet. Everyone's asking if I'm going to do any videos on it. If the ground will firm up here, dry up where I can do something on it, I will. But the problem is that it's been so muddy the last couple days that we haven't been able to do anything with it. And when the time comes where the next 10 days they're saying it's supposed to be dry, whether or not it dries up enough, because we're late enough in the year, if it actually will dry, or if we're just going to stay muddy, is yet to be seen. But I'm going to try to run this at least a little bit. My plans are I'm probably going to put the camera in the rear view window. You guys can watch the tractor going across the field. And I'm also probably going to put the camera in the front windshield facing ahead like I did in the 7600 and get you some shots of that. But the current thing is, why I haven't posted anything is because it's just whether the field conditions are not permitting it. That is why the 8370R videos are a no-go right now. That's why you're not getting anything from me. You've actually probably seen a couple of my videos where it's been in the background, in the foreground, wherever, and I haven't mentioned it because I haven't driven this thing yet. And this is mainly my dad's driven this more than I have right now. And I've just been focused on trying to get the last of the corn out, which we're down to 12 acres, by the way. And from there on, we can focus on tillage if the weather will allow. All we have done for tillage is entirely what Ryan has done with this machine, and I think he only did like 8 acres. So we have a lot of VTing to do. We're actually probably looking at doing some cutting with the Rhino cutter with the intention of going through and chisel plowing behind the cutter, because the reason for that is that the ground may be a little bit soft yet to go through and hit it with the VT to knock the stalks down so we can run through the chisel plow. If we go through with the cutter, the ground may be a little soft yet, but it's firm enough that it'll carry the 76 in the cutter we can go through and at least cover some acres that way, and that's that much less we have to worry about running the VT over. I'll probably end up, quite honestly, depending on how much of a time crunch we get in, but I'll probably end up being the 4640 pulling the chisel plow. And quite honestly, Ryan may end up in this. Almost certainly will end up in this, because I'm to the point, guys, where we're late enough in the year where I don't have a whole lot of interest in driving something new and shiny that I can only run for a couple hours. I almost would rather jump in the 4640 and run for almost a day, 2 days straight, purely just to get caught up on tillage. This has just been a wet fall, and I gotta have my priorities. So I'm hoping I can do a more thorough video on this. I haven't given you much of a run around in the cab or anything, but give me a chance. Well, cross your fingers that I have a chance to run this and actually have an idea about how everything works in this cab, because I am not familiar with this monitor whatsoever. It's a larger display, it's a touchscreen display, and it's a lot nicer than the one that's in the 82. So I'm not going to try to do it justice by discussing it when I can't, because I'll be fumbling around it trying to tell you what it's all doing and everything else. So with that, take care, take it easy, keep in touch, go ahead and hit subscribe. Leave down in the comments section which would you prefer if it comes down to a time crunch. Would you rather me put the camera over my shoulder as I'm going across the field when I'm running this, if I run this? Or would you prefer if I just put it in the front windshield and I'll do a part voiceover, part just let it sit and run. You guys can listen to the machine run. I will be doing out the 4640, but I don't have to worry about the 4640 having to go back to the dealership anytime soon. So until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.